designing or entering a custom cartridge right now in Pirate Firearms and Reloading. Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to do something requested while I'm also doing something else requested. So a gentleman over on YouTube commented that he was having trouble getting data that he believed was accurate out of GRT. We've already found that the 6GT load was indeed over pressure, both with GRT and with published load data. So we've confirmed that one. The other caliber he seems to be having trouble with that he's given me as an example is 7PRC, or 7mm precision rifle cartridge. That is not set up in Gordon's reloading tool by default. So today I'm going to run through with everybody how to create that, which has also been requested by another gentleman in the comments on YouTube. So we're going to kill two birds with one stone here and just confirm some load data. So the 7PRC, I'm going to cheat a little bit and I'm going to actually make a copy of 300 PRC. If you have like a parent case that it kind of works from, that's probably going to be your easiest way to do it. Now, there's a couple of ways to do it. What I have done here is I've gone into the GRT database, right? And we're just going to put in PRC. And obviously, we're going to get a couple. Now, ironically, 300 PRC is actually in here twice. So I have just taken the newest one, the 2011 version. And if you right click on it, you can go copy with new. And what you'll end up with is a copy of your 300 PRC, hence copy 1. This is a better idea as you're not going to affect the original version of 300 PRC. And now what we can actually do is, I prefer edit in Cartridge Designer, but you can just hit edit. You'll get two slightly different windows. So this is edit normally, and you've got to do both the cartridge and the chamber. That is quite important. Or my personal preference is to go edit in Cartridge Designer, and you get this nice big, easier to understand window, and you get both the cartridge and the chamber in the same drawer. So this is the one I'm going to use today for this example. I'm going to make a little bit more room over here, because what we now need to do is get some accurate data, right? And so where better to get it from than from SAMI themselves. So let's just drag this into the screen a little bit. Obviously, we're going to want to rename this. So it's no longer a copy, and we're going to change it to 7PRC, also known as 7mm precision rifle cartridge. The dates in that aren't super critical. I'm not really going to worry about that all that much. Hornady believe it's a SAMI spec, and SAMI have published data on it, so technically we could take Wildcat away from this. It doesn't actually change anything. So what we want to do here first, so the pressure, right, is 65,000 PSI according to SAMI. Now, you can see my readings in bar, and we've talked about this before. You can actually click the little button here and change it. Now, this is your pressure from the previous cartridge, and it's pretty close, but SAMI is now saying that we can do 65,000 PSI. So we're going to go ahead and change that. Okay, so we've now changed, and you can see as we're changing things, they are highlighting into yellow. And what we can do is we can just every so often say save changes. This will save us having any serious issue. As you can still see, this is a 308 diameter projectile. That's going to be a little bit of a problem down a 7mm barrel. So now we need to jump over to cartridge. And now we're going to talk lengths. So we need to look at the diagram here. We need to find the corresponding length here on the SAMI diagram and start importing some data. So let's start with L1. So L1 is from the base to the beginning of the shoulder. So in the drawing here, we have got 46.214 millimeters. So that's going to be our L1 dimension. So we need to change that to 46.214, just like that. Immediately I have generated an error because this cartridge looks really stupid, and you saw the diagram automatic update. So as we start entering these should improve. So L2 is the base of the neck to the base of the cartridge. So according to that, that is 50.62. Just like that. Apart from the ridiculously long neck, that's starting to look halfway reasonable. Now L3. So L3 is to the top of the neck, which will be our next one. And if we follow our diagram here, we are looking, now there is a little bit of tolerance built into this, as you can see, but we are going to go 57.9. Okay, our cartridge is starting to look a bit more like a reasonable cartridge, right? And it's saying that our maximum overall length, which should be L6, should be 84.84. So we'll change that one as well, just like that. So now it's starting to look actually halfway reasonable. Now, the next thing we need to do is look at the case neck. So this is figure H1 and H2. Interestingly enough, they don't specify any difference between these two, but they're saying 8.05. So we need to change both of these to 8.05, like that, and 8.05. Okay. So in theory, the neck should have parallel walls, hence they are the same size. So the next one we're going to look at is the shoulder cone. This is where we start to get a little more technical. Now, shoulder cone is alpha, which is this one here. So they measure it slightly differently to the way that SAMI provide it. SAMI provide you a single angle based off the center line, right? So 30 degree. The way GRT does it is it gives you shoulder to shoulder. So you basically double what SAMI is showing you here in this diagram. They're showing you 30 degrees, therefore alpha should be 60 degrees, and that's exactly what it is. Now R1, so this is radius, so we've got R1 and R2. So now we've got to start looking at the shoulder. So we've got 1.27, and then we've got 3.18. So the two radiuses remain the same from the PRC, or the 300 PRC cartridge, which totally makes sense, right? So the case base, so this is the rim height, which, looking at the diagram here, this all looks to be the same. Then we're going to come to R1, 1351 is the maximum. Yes, it is. So everything all here looks good. 35 degrees. This is all correct. So your case base is all correct here because it's in the PRC family of cartridges. Like I said, this is the advantage of copying over from another case. Now we've got to come down here to the powder chamber. This is going to be a little difficult to do. And the reason it's a little difficult to do is because we don't actually know the volume. Now we can hit the calculate and it should give us an approximate volume of the case at 86.97. And that's used all the previous data that I have entered in order to come up with this. Now the other one that we do need to change is the projectile diameter. Obviously that is not going to work for us, and what we might do is convert that to inches. So it's looking for a 3083, and we need a 0.28 like that. So now we should be able to save all these numbers. Now we are still getting errors up here. It's throwing these errors, because the cartridge and the chamber are vastly different. And that's to be expected because that chamber is still for a 300 PRC, not a 7mm PRC. So now we need to go over to chamber, and we are going to change to the SAMI drawing for the chamber. So let's start again and work our way through the chamber dimensions. So L1 being the base to the start of the neck, or the oh, sorry, I should say the breech face to the neck. So we are going to have a look at this line here to the start of the neck here. So they are saying 46.08. So let's change this. 46.089. Enter. Oh, look, it's starting to match up and the error has gone away. So L2 will be to the start of the neck, which is 50.48, and the error's gone there too. So we're going to now look for L3. And L3 will be 58.17. Okay, our chamber is starting to match up really nicely. Now bear in mind, the reason that's from the breech face is obviously that rim is internally in the bolt, not in the chamber. So that's why your numbers will look quite different. So that's our 3 lengths sorted here. Now what we need to do is look at the breech. Now these should all remain the same because it is in a PRC family of cases. The powder chamber and that should all be relatively similar. So our rifling is going to be wrong as well. So there's a few things we need to change here. Now the collar, so this is all going to have to change. So we want H1 is going to be 810 and H2 is, where are we? Is 8.08. Okay, so they're all now working out quite nicely. So we now need the diameter of the rifling G1, so that is going to be 2846, because we're doing this one in inches, so 0.2846, right, because it's a 284 cal, and all of a sudden this is starting to line up here. Now remember when we talked about radiuses with the alpha before, so this alpha will be correct at 60 degrees, so 30 degrees there and 30 degrees there. They also have the bevel on the edge where the for the neck, and so they've got 45 degrees, so you'd have to double the 45 degrees to get your alpha up here, and 45 plus 45 is obviously 90 degrees, so that is all correct in that position as well. I think most of this other data is probably pretty close. So let's take a look at the barrel here. So you've got F and Z. So it's basically your lands and your grooves. So coming from a 308 or a 7.62 projectile, that would give you a bore diameter. So we're going to go 7.04, and then your larger one here will be your groove diameter, and that will be 7.21. Enter. Just like that. So what we need to do now is obviously we're going to go save changes. I'm just going to take that guy back off screen for now, and we're going to close that. So now I should be able to, yeah, and we'll tell her we want to save it. Right, so I now believe we have got mostly the correct information in there. Effective cross section. So this has come up. We've got to have a look at that. So we've got standard rifle, groove diameter, land diameter, width of the grooves, number of the grooves. So that all looks okay. Oh, there we go. Right. Just had to populate that. Now, what we have here is, now I'm using the example that a user had provided me. So they had a 75 grain Hornady ELDX, which is the bullet I have selected up here. So now we kind of want to validate our data. Now we should be able to do that by entering some information. So he was also using Reloader 26, and what I'll do, just pop here on the screen for a couple of seconds. Obviously the Hornady published data, Hornady created the 7 PRC, so I'm just going to use their data for argument's sake. So Reloader 26, we're seeing around about 1,000 feet per second for a 67.1 grain powder charge. So let's do it. 67.1 grain powder charge. So they're saying the muzzle velocity is going to be a little bit lower. So Hornady is saying that that is a relatively safe load. It looks like we have got a pretty good understanding of how to create a cartridge now. There's more things that can be played with here. Obviously the bullet jump right now is locked out, but that's basically saying 10th hour bullet jump, which for most cartridges is perfectly achievable. It's obviously going to depend on the magazine, the action, and so on and so forth, whether you can, seat these at these certain lengths, etc. So pretty satisfied that that is all correct. Obviously, in the real world, you may get completely different results. The most important thing to understand is that this is a theoretical based assumption, if you like. Call it an educated guess, right? This is in the perfect world situation. These results may be close to what you see in the real world, but probably will never be perfect. The other thing that you have to understand is rubbish in, rubbish out. If you put in the wrong data, it's going to give you the wrong data back out. So it is important that you take your time, make sure you import the data correctly. If you are, creating a cartridge, try and start with a parent case. That way all the really little minute details in that are already going to be filled out for you, and you're not going to have to sit there and work them out. The way Semi do some of their drawings is different to the way that GRT do their drawings. So you've got to be a little bit careful, particularly those angles I showed you with the shoulder angle. It's important that you understand how a technical drawing works and how to read a technical drawing, because I've done a fair bit of work with technical drawings in my life. Even some of those Semi drawings I struggle with a little bit, and you've really got to concentrate and make sure you're getting the correct information. So just take your time, have fun, and most importantly, be safe. Stay within published loading data. Even if GRT says you can put more powder in, it's probably best you don't. Particularly with a newer caliber like 7PRC, we don't know what it is truly capable of just yet, because all the testing has been laboratory based. Yes, okay, there's plenty of rifles now out there chambered in it, and people are getting slowly used to it. There's some brands of powder that haven't even begun to publish reloading data on 7PRC. If you jump on, for example, Alliance reloading data online, there is no information for 7PRC as the date of this filming in December 2020. So that will change as the cartridge becomes more adopted. We could talk about 6GT being a wildcat, but it's been around for a while now that, there is a lot more data out there. So just be careful with the data that you're using, and always go back to that load manual. If your reloading manual is a little older and it doesn't have a new cartridge, jump on the website of the manufacturer that created or designed that cartridge, and jump on the powder company's website. You're going to find some data somewhere, and just try and stick to it. So if you found this video helpful, please don't forget to give it a like. Any questions, hit me up in the comments down below. And until next time, happy shooting. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss out on anything. And if you found this video helpful, please share it with your friends. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments below. Catch you next time.